Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are actor-writer Steven Fales and actress-singer Renee Victor. Actor, writer, author, Steven Fales was born and raised in Provo, Utah. By the time he was in high school, the family moved to Las Vegas, where he sang in the high school choir at venues on and off the Strip. Steven trained at the Boston Conservatory, transferred to Brigham Young University, where he completed his BFA and in musical theater, and later you earned an MFA at the University of Connecticut. Were you always Broadway bound?
Well, the beginning of the show I do called Confessions of a Mormon Boy.
Yes.
There's this little recording of me singing at 5 years old.
Oh, that's right.
So from the moment I was just always singing and making these songs up, and that's a very important piece of the show, is me singing as this little boy. I've got these great recordings.
But your family wasn't in show business.
No. But Mormons have this legacy of, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Oh, right.
Donnie and Marie Osmond. We love to perform.
So when you were going to church, were you being trained as a choir singer?
Well, you're taught to just sing the hymns loud and sing with, everything you have. But later, it wasn't until I was in high school that I started taking voice lessons.
Oh, so then you got professional help. And you were in Las Vegas at that time.
That's right. When I was 11, we moved to Vegas. My mother is from that long line of Mormons. I'm a sixth-generation Mormon.
Is that right?
Yeah, and a lot of my mom's people are from Las Vegas.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why was that? Why did they go there?
Well,
from Utah?
Being a Mormon in Vegas is like being Jewish in New York or Beverly
Really?
Hills. Yeah. 1 in 13 of the population in Las Vegas is a Mormon.
So there you were. Okay, you were taking choir. You were singing in Las Vegas. You were on the Strip seeing things that were going on. Was that your inspiration for going on the stage? For going on Broadway, for singing in plays?
It was exciting to be part of that showbiz aspect. I came to the theater kind of late. My father's a doctor, and none of my people were the performers. And I fell into it in high school, and I started catching up with my peers, and then got the scholarship to the Boston Conservatory. And
that's because you were a good musician?
Singer. I played the piano, though.
Oh, you played the
since
piano.
I was 8.
So you had to have something that got you a scholarship.
Yeah,
you had to be wanting to do something in a career like that. Yeah. But was it Broadway? What was it?
I think it was the Osmonds.
Oh, you keep saying that with your smile.
Well, most boys my age wanted to be Donnie and Mary Marie. I wanted to marry Donnie and be Marie.
But that's part of your confession, right?
Right. There's a lot of humor in the show, and we also deal with really serious issues in Confessions of a Mormon Boy.
This is your book.
Yeah.
Did you write the book first, or did you write the play?
I wrote the play, and what that is, it's the full monologue script with essays and resources, so it becomes this whole, experience in this book, and it's a finalist for a Lambda Literary Award this year.
That's wonderful. And did you have an editor? Or
Yeah.
did you edit?
It's published by Allison Books. You can get it at Amazon.com or my website, MormonBoy.com.
So let's go back to where you were. You were singing. You were playing the piano. You were in the Boston Conservatory. You weren't thinking of going on stage.
No, I was planning to, but something interrupted my training. I served a 2-year mission for the Mormon Church.
Yes, let's talk about that. Every Mormon boy or girl
particularly the boys.
Particularly the boys,
Mm-hmm.
have to do their time, have to do something for the church or
Yeah.
to spread the word.
Yeah, it's a
And
2-year mission.
And you went to Portugal.
Yeah. So I learned Portuguese. My father went to Denmark. All my uncles went.
And where did they learn the language? Did they keep the language up?
Yeah, well, I had one uncle go to Ireland, so it wasn't too bad for him. I had another one go to, I've got cousins that have gone to Japan. I've got,
And
my
they learn
brother
the
went to
language?
Mexico.
Everywhere they go, they learn the language.
You learn it at the Missionary Training Center where they teach you these.
So you learned Portuguese, and you still use it?
Once in a while, and not as much as I'd like to.
How proficient are you? You have to be proficient enough to read the word, to spread the word of Mormonism?
Sim, eu falo português e eu fui missionário da Igreja de Jesus Cristo dos Santos Últimos Dias. But what we really do is we learn Portuguese, we learn Mormonism and the lessons in Portuguese.
I see.
So it's not like, I had this broad linguistic.
But you got along very well. They're obviously
You
2
pick it up.
years.
You pick it up.
Yeah. So that stopped your going on stage.
I left
in a
my
way?
scholarship for 2 years to
Right.
serve the Lord. And then I transferred to Brigham Young University, which is Mormon owned, because, I always had these same-sex attraction. A lot of my plays about being a gay Mormon, or a Brokeback Mormon, as Variety calls it. So I thought that these feelings would go away if I could just find the right woman. Well, I got married. And
You did find the right woman.
It didn't straighten me out completely.
But you found the right woman in the fact that her father was going through the same kind of problems you were going through.
Well,
That seems
her
like
father
the right
was gay.
woman.
Emily's father was gay, and her mother wrote a national bestseller about the experience. He died, unfortunately, of AIDS in 1984.
She had a lot of publicity on her book, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
She was very well known because it was the first time that this kind of thing had been talked about, I guess. And
Carol Lynn Pearson, and her book was Goodbye, I Love You. And you can, she's a wonderful literary light. And so her daughter, Emily, and I, we thought we could write a different story from her parents.
But she didn't know you were gay, did she?
Emily knew.
Oh, she did when you got married.
We told her.
Oh,
I
okay.
told her, but we could work through this. It wasn't
I
going
see.
to,
I see.
we had this new reparative therapy that was coming into vogue, but is now, deemed as being unethical and ineffective completely.
Reparative. Was that just from the church, or was that?
No, it's part of a, I don't want to say quackery, but it was an earnest attempt. It was an earnest attempt to keep men straight so that the heterosexist interpretation of the Bible could be justified in regards to gay rights. So I was doing this therapy. I had a Catholic therapist. And in the end, after all the time and money and energy, my feelings toward men never went away.
And so you wrote the book, you wrote the play, and you tell every bit of debauchery you went through, every bit of
Not every bit,
Oh!
but enough. What I wrote.
I felt like you did the debauchery on one side and then the reawakening on the other side.
Yeah. It's a roller coaster ride. But I
Not every bit. You told so much.
I wrote the play as a reaction to my excommunication.
So that came after you got married?
Yeah, after I came out to my wife and said, this is not going away. We got divorced, but I was also formally tried as a homosexual by the church of my birth for the practice of homosexuality. My play is my contribution to helping end spiritual abuse in our churches, mosques, and synagogues.
That's great. That's a great awakening. That is the awakening.
Yeah.
The other thing is, here you were and I'm saying spiritual because I feel that there was so much spirit involved in this play. You go to New York, you turn out to be a male prostitute. When I talk about debauchery, you did everything that was the opposite of what you had been taught.
Well, it's...
And you were hard on your father.
Yeah. Yeah, the play is about my reconciliation with my dad. I used to blame my dad for all my problems. So the show is about growing up. The universal theme is we all have things that we have to take responsibility for. So when I got excommunicated, I was very angry and upset and hurt. And I took that energy, took that anger inward. And I needed to pay child support and a lot of things. So I moved to New York to fulfill my dreams as an actor. And I got swept away in a gay adolescence that included, escorting, prostitution, and drug use. And so the play is about going from one extreme of super-duper Mormonism to another extreme of super-duper hedonism and finding a middle ground that works for me.
And the thing that I thought was interesting is that you now have these workshops where you help people get out of sex worker kind of.
Yeah, I have a foundation called lifeaftersexwork.com.
Really?
Which helps sex workers transition out of the sex industry.
That's pretty far out.
Well, that's a good thing for a Mormon boy to do, don't you think?
I know, and I think that's your teachings must have been so strong that no matter what they did to you, excommunicate you, try to straighten you out, you still hang on to your faith.
I have a spirituality, and sometimes spirituality and religion work together, and sometimes they're very different.
Yeah, but you talk about miracles. You say the miracles will come with your faith.
Well, I believe in the miracles of the heart. For example, I never thought in a million years that my Mormon Orthodox father would come see the show in New York.
Oh, he did? It played in New York recently.
Well, it was off Broadway. We had it at the Soho Playhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since then I've been touring. I'm doing it right now in Los Angeles. Brought it back.
And you're writing a new play. Before we leave, I want to make sure we talk about the new play.
Yes, it's called Mormon American Princess. And you can get all this information on wherever I'm doing the show. I've done it all over the country.
Chicago?
Mormonboy.com.
Chicago?
Chicago, Atlanta, Boston.
Really?
Rave reviews around the country. It's directed by Tony Award winner Jack Hofsis.
How'd you get Jack Hofsis to direct you?
Well, just through theater circles in New York when I was living in New York.
Is that right?
Yeah. He won a Tony Award for The Elephant Man.
I know. He's a wonderful director. He's from San Diego, right? Or he was in San Diego at the theater down there.
I can't recall specifically, but yeah.
So that's where we're going to see you next, on the stage again. The Mormon Boy and His Confessions. I loved your show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thanks for watching. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Renee Victor. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm with actress, choreographer, dancer, singer, voiceover performer, and talk show host, the lovely Renee Victor. Renee was born and raised in San Antonio and studied at the University of Texas and the American Film Institute. She worked in every facet of show business and still has had time to raise 2 daughters. Renee created that quirky role of Mommy, is it, in indie film Hollywood?
Yes.
Familia?
Yeah.
And she plays the saucy, sassy nanny in Showtime's Weeds. Let's talk about Lupita and Weeds. Is that the first thing we should talk about?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Tell us how you got that character and how she's so lasting on the show.
Well, I got it through the regular avenues of acting, through an audition, and then I was selected to do it. And it's a role that really is a vast departure from your average nanny/maid role, because she's independent, lippy, as she was once described in one of the reviews.
Lippy. Mouthy.
yeah. The lippiest nanny since Rosario and Will and Grace.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so the fact that it was such a vast departure from the stereotypical nanny and maid is what certainly made it very interesting for me.
Did you have to speak Spanish?
No, just I had to speak with an accent, but I did not have to speak Spanish unless it was some little aside or comment that I chose, but it was not in the script. No, everything I said is in English.
And is it also all written for you? Do you do any kind of ad-libbing with your own?
No. It's we have Weeds is
very strict.
Weeds is the success that it is due to its brilliant writers. You know, and the creator Genji Cohan. I mean, she's hard to beat, and she created it, and she is one of the writers. And with that type of writing, they don't need my ad-libbing.
It's interesting.
Although I'd be very happy to do so.
It's interesting because actors always say that. It's so easy for some writer to put words in your mouth. Actors like that, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do, but I think you can get away with some of that when you're Al Pacino, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, then nobody's going to argue with you.
So what was the mommy character?
The mommy is a character is a story based on a true life story of a mother and her two daughters from El Salvador, where the father was assassinated in front of them. And then they left and came to America, but the mother still longs to go back. And one of the daughters is an aspiring actress, and the other daughter is alcoholic and belongs to AA. And so it was an interesting story. It premiered at the Fine Arts in Beverly Hills and then played at the Laemmle. So it had something to offer, I think, and I think it will continue to.
Did it do festivals? It's an independent film, right?
Yes, I think it's being submitted to a lot of festivals, probably as we speak.
And what's it called?
Hollywood Familia, Hollywood Family. It's pretty easy to figure out what familia means because it's so close to family.
Did you have to speak Spanish in that?
No, it was I could and I did some, but in that particular role, I had the freedom to weave in and out of the languages.
But you're a linguist. You speak many languages. I keep saying Spanish because those were the roles that we were talking about.
Yes,
but you speak Greek?
Yeah.
Where did you pick up all these languages?
Well, I was raised trilingually because my father was Italian and my mother is Hispanic. My mother is Mexican from pioneer stock of Texas that they founded all of the Catholic cities, all of the cities with Catholic names like San Antonio, San Angelo, San Marcos, and all that.
The missions.
So, yes, right. So I grew up speaking, hearing Italian and Spanish, and of course when I left the house and I went to school and I played and all that, it was English. So I grew up with those three, and then my godmother was Greek from Athens, and so that's how I learned Greek. I learned Greek through her. I learned how to cook in Greek and dance in Greek and sing in Greek.
How great!
Yeah.
Did you get Spanish and Italian confused?
No.
They're totally separate.
Well, I mean, they're both Romance languages.
Yeah.
French, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese are Romance languages. So, with that basis, which is Latin, they have similarities. Which, of course, you wouldn't compare Italian to Hungarian.
No,
you see,
but you didn't have any problem as a child speaking Italian and speaking Spanish to one or the other of your parents?
No, actually, that happened more when we went, like, we used to alternate Sundays, and one time on Sundays we would go to the La Nonna Italiana, you know, and then we'd go on the other Sunday when we'd go to La Abuela Latina, you know. So that's what we did, and that's what was in my father's home. We'd walk in, there was opera and cooking and ravioli and everything in Italian and dancing tarantellas, you know. And in my mother's side, it was all, you know, beautiful Spanish music all the way from Spain down to the Mexican Revolution and everything else.
That, talking about the opera, is where you got your start in show business, isn't it?
My very first professional job was in the opera Carmen.
I wondered why you were in the opera. Now I know you have an Italian father.
Yeah. But
so what happened? How did that happen?
Well, because the opera Carmen is about Spain. See, all of them, all of the tunes, all of the music is Spain. It's in Italian, but it's about Spain. You know that. So, what I did, I danced on a table. A little girl dancing on a table with the castanets and the whole thing.
That is so great. Did you want to be in show business then?
All my life,
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who guessed and fooled around and, you know, and did, well, I want to major in philosophy and no, I think I'll be a journalist. No, I always knew since I was a child that I wanted to be in entertainment.
So that's why you had these great voiceover qualities with different kinds of accents, because you do voiceover too, right?
Yes. I
But English, with an English accent?
Some of them, yes.
Yeah.
I'm the voice of Helena in Ingmar Bergman's Fanny and Alexander. That certainly has nothing Hispanic about it or Italian.
No.
And but I am the voice. That was in English. I'm the English voice of Helena in Bergman's Fanny and Alexander. I'm the English voice of Giulietta Messina in Ginger and Fred.
Oh,
I am the Spanish voice of the gargoyle in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
So it's so amazing to me what you can do with your voice. Did you ever think you'd sing opera?
No, I didn't sing opera. I danced in the opera.
But could you sing? Because of your voice quality and what you can do.
I spent more than 20 years as a singer, and I just came back from the state of Washington, in which I went ostensibly for a singing engagement.
Yeah, so you are a singer.
Oh, definitely.
And a dancer.
Yes, dancer, then I became a singer, and then I became an actress.
So what kind of singing do you do?
Mainly Latin jazz, but I like standards, and I like straight ahead Latin music. And,
Latin contemporary?
And I like pop, you know, but if you were to say which have you done more of, it would tend to be Latin jazz.
Would be Latin jazz, and you've taken it to Europe, to Japan?
Yes, to Australia, where I lived for 4 years.
Yes, how did that happen?
I was working at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, and
Doing what?
Singing.
Singing. Okay.
Singing. And,
Okay.
And then an Australian agent saw the act, and at the time I was married, and my husband and I used to sing mainly together, but often he would have his solo shows and I would have mine. So we were both contracted to go to Australia, and that's how that happened.
And you had a talk show there.
We had a variety show.
A variety.
A musical variety show in which I sang and I danced.
But was it on TV?
Yeah.
And what did you do? Were you the hostess?
Yes.
You did?
I hosted, sang, danced, interviewed, talked, did everything that you do when you host a show, you know.
You sang cabaret.
Yeah.
With Jerry Jackson, is that who?
Jerry Jackson is the artistic director of the Folies Bergère in Las Vegas, and was also for the Parisian version as well. He's my daughter's godfather, and one of my dearest, closest friends.
He's a very big name, isn't he?
Oh, you bet. Yeah, yeah, and he's a genius.
So when you worked in the Folies Bergère?
No, but I have done work for Jerry for various shows.
He did Harry Belafonte?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't do that?
No, I didn't. I was in the Harry Belafonte show, but that had nothing to do with Jerry.
No, so what did you do in the Harry Belafonte show?
I sang and I danced.
You did. And Perez Prado?
I sang and I danced.
Oh boy, you did something. And choreography?
Did a lot of my own choreography, and I have done choreography for other acts and for other performers.
Barry Manilow?
In Barry's show, I danced. In Barry's show, I danced as a featured dancer, but I also did a bag lady. And then I danced, but I also acted.
So you were acting. You have been with the greats.
I've been fortunate, I think.
You were so wonderful to do that. When you did your variety show, that didn't morph into anything else then. You didn't become a talk show host.
Well,
at that
when I came back to the United States, then I hosted a straight-ahead talk show at KTLA.
Oh, then it did not morph, but it did kind of lead into that.
It helped that I had already hosted a show for sure.
And did it concentrate on just entertainers or Latin issues?
You know what that show was? It was about Latinos in the community of exceptional achievement. So we had artists, we had politicians, we had actors, we had writers, authors, and all that. But that was the subject.
Did you have to learn a different skill to be a talk show host? I'm trying to get some tips from you.
Well, actually, no. I think the secret of if I were to be asked what would you advise, or what would be the secret to being a good talk show host, would be just to talk to the people like you would talk to the people, like you would talk to your best friend or like you would talk to your neighbor. And I think that quality comes through and it becomes engaging and endearing because it's warm.
But that's how you are as a guest, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you.
You love to cook for small little groups. What's your favorite menu before we leave?
I think there's no favorite cuisine, but I love to cook Italian. I love to cook Greek. I love to cook Spanish, but the Spanish is so vast because it can be Cuban, it could be Mexican, it could be Puerto Rican, and I have friends from all walks of life, so I'm always learning things.
Do you
from
mix all those? The Cuban?
No,
do you know how to do?
If I cook something, it'll be a specific dish and from a specific culture. Yeah.
Well, we're so happy you came on.
Well, thank you, Joan.
And thank you for being with us, and we'll look for you in all these great roles.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure to be with you. I had heard so much about you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks,
yes,
Renee.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles, 90017. We'll see you next time.